Okay. Hey, this is for Becky. I'm here to tell you about her new series, The Blunt Truth presents DTF with Maggie and MJ. It will be the first female stoner dual feature inspired by
me.
By me? Yeah, I inspired you. Shot in Dallas. Oh, I love Dallas, man. Hey, I love you too, darling. This one's for you, darling. There you go. Take a hit. Take a hit. There you go.
Hey, man. Am I driving okay?
I think we're parked, man.
Oh, shit. God damn, I was in that shit, man. I never had no dope like that before in my life, man. That's the heaviest shit I ever smoked, man. I mean, I smoked a lot of shit before, man, but goddamn, man, that's heavy shit.
You okay?
I can't breathe.
What's the matter?
I can't breathe, man.
Well, here, hey, man.
Oh,
Hey, I got something to mellow you out, man. You're just freaking out. Here.
I never smoked no shit like that before.
Take these,
What?
man. Take these. This'll
What
mellow
is
you
this?
out, man.
What is that, man?
Let's take them, man. Oh. Hey, don't take those, man.
What?
I almost gave you the wrong shit, man.
Hey, man, I already took them, man.
Oh.
Hey, what do you mean? Whoa.
Wow, man.
Hey, what was that shit, man?
You just ate the most acid I've ever seen anybody eat in my life.
Podcast! We're doing a podcast. We're so happy.
What is wrong with you guys?
So much. We don't have enough time on this podcast to talk about all the things that are wrong with us.
Yeah.
That would be a whole nother series alone. I mean,
There's not enough tape.
No,
Yeah, no.
not enough. So does anybody know where Dave is?
Where's Dave?
Where's Dave?
Dave's not here. Dave's not here, guys.
Dave's not here?
He's not here.
He went to the store.
Oh, it's the store.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess we'll get started then, guys.
We can't wait for Dave all night.
Yeah.
No, we must carry on because a brand new episode here of The Blunt Truth presents Seeing Stoned. Welcome back, guys. Glad you can make it here with us. As you can see, we have a full table, not just an extra computer, and we've got all these
Got all kinds of stuff.
Stuff.
Dudes
because
and guys and girls and chicks
It's
and
a straight up sausage
mans.
party up in here.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the way Cheech and Chong love to have it.
That's right.
The OGs of hetero life mates and comedy, smoking the weed and having a great old time, guys.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. On this episode, we are going all things Cheech and Chong.
We're Cheech and Chong, and we're still smoking strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely,
Going up in smoke.
let's just say a staple in anybody who ever has smoked weed over the past 40 years or more, they know Cheech and Chong on some level.
Yeah, you
To
guys.
say the least.
Oh, I forgot my mustache.
Oh.
I was going to wear a mustache. You know, a la Cheech.
So
but now, I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, I guess we technically kind of have beards
I
because
was
for
gonna say,
Chong.
You guys got the
know?
Chong beards.
Yeah.
I'm clean shaven today.
yeah.
How dare you go babyface today
Sorry,
for this episode?
sorry.
How can you do
So
that, Frank?
rude.
How does one do this? Over it?
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
And
Cool. I finally have somebody that's like amped about smoking with me during the weed smoking
during the
podcast.
episode, at least, yes. And guys, well, I'm your host, moderator here of this crazy show that we've been putting on. I am Scotty P from the Geek Fathers, also known on Geeks Under the Influence panelist, group, showrunner, however you want to put it. Find us everything GUI related at GUIpodcast.com. And of course, to my left, the guy who likes to complain about smoking the weed, even though he has the weed,
Got the weed.
Mr. Casey Martin,
Hey, hello. Welcome.
fellow weed head.
Welcome.
Of course, creator, writer, producer, editor. We just make her do everything anyways. Miss Becky Gaskill.
Tis I. Hello.
And special guest, not on a computer screen, live and in person.
Live in studio.
This
Okay.
guy,
Okay.
Mr. Frank Vaughan, producer of Blunt Truth, shall we say, projects at this point.
With an S.
the man behind the scenes, if you will.
I'm just a guy.
I know I like you behind my scenes, but
Heyo.
hey. So, guys, again, Cheech and Chong, Casey, why don't you lead us off on what we'll be covering today?
Now, okay, if you guys aren't familiar with Cheech and Chong at all, number one, you already are, because everything that happened, in my opinion, after Cheech and Chong that had anything to do with drug culture, with any sort of inclusionary mix of the regular guy with the rich guy, with the marrying everything together. This is what Cheech and Chong brought to us, in my opinion, to our comedy. Like, you can look to everything that has happened afterwards and see jokes that Cheech and Chong did before that. They paved the way for this entire genre, and I don't know how we could have a stoner movie podcast without having a Cheech and Chong episode.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I would say normalizing it. They normalized marijuana usage, cannabis usage, whatever the word is today.
Well, they painted a different picture. Like, it was largely demonized, like these crazy Mexicans and their marijuana and they're gonna murder you, and the whole reefer madness thing that's happened. Like, put a big fear in culture that, like, that you were only some sort of like scumbag, dirtball.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the only kind of people that ever used.
You were the
or you're a
fringe.
jazz musician.
The dirty hippies.
Jazz musicians, the scourge of all time.
Those crazy jazz dudes, man, I swear.
Yeah.
That always getting high.
Yeah,
So-
but they made it, two dudes from Pedro and the Man, the two quote unquote characters, one being like an incredibly rich, well-to-do from a posh family, and the other being from like a ghetto where he's sleeping on the couch surrounded by like half a dozen kids, and it's a train that has left the station. And such my thought was my train of thought totally evaporated.
Wow, your diatribe is kind of weak this episode, sir. I don't know if you like took that extra hit because of you were getting ready for the Cheech and Chong marathon.
Maybe it was
what?
maybe it was the two direct bong hits. Like,
This makes what I was about to do kind of painful, because I've got ice cream here. And then T1000. I think this is like named after like the Terminator stuff.
T1000.
So it's like supposed to
This is a murder.
put you on your dick kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I got the ice cream packed here if you wanted to hit that.
Might as well.
Taste up some of the ice cream.
Taste the
Taste
rainbow.
Taste the rainbow. So,
Ground
Love the
control.
rainbow.
as he hits ice cream, we come always to our first question that we do on every episode, and that is essentially, is this a stoner movie or a movie about stoners? And I will answer yes.
I was going to say chicken and egg right here. This is the chicken and egg.
This
Yeah,
is what
yeah.
created
Right.
everything.
Yeah.
Like, these guys did. They paved the way for any sort of stoner movie to be able to happen. For they proved. They proved.
See, and he's already wrecking shop. One time you guest on the show and you wreck it, man.
I didn't know I was going to be so close to everything. I thought we were in COVID times. Damn, freaking me out, man.
So as we try to rein in Frank here a little bit, he's apparently really excited to be here.
Yeah.
Super stoked.
The question that I'll repeat to our guest here, even though I gave my answer, and that will always be my answer when it comes to Cheech and Chong. Are we looking at stoner movies or movies about stoners?
So, according to film cinematography, there was nothing before this as far as like a genre of stoner film, as if like Blair Witch Project, whole new genre of horror film.
Right.
So there were comedy films out there, but there weren't really stoner comedy films or films that took marijuana in a comedy sense or a comedy light. I don't know if you guys have already talked about the film Jewel Robbery, a 1932 film.
No,
actually. 1932 black and white film.
Drop the history, man.
Yeah, pretty cool. The premise is there's a jewel thief out there, and he's going about and he's setting his traps, and he's doing all these little things, nefariously through dialogue with all the people.
Of course,
because this is back in the 30s. They didn't really do a lot of actiony stuff. It was a lot of dialogue and a lot of suspense built up through cinematography. So this guy was using a tool that was not easily. It wasn't easily identifiable back in the day. In 1932, like weed was, I think. This is the same point in time, maybe a little bit later, did Reefer Madness come out? I think that was in the 40s or something like that. But yeah, this was like really before like even weed was really kind of known of. But the people who knew of weed from a very novice point of doing it, of actually like, using it.
As I kind of said jokingly earlier, but it really is legitimate of marijuana usage before really the 50s going into the 60s was, and even then you can still classify it as the same way, it was really the fringe of society that even knew about it, much less actually did it.
And they took, and the filmmakers of this day took something that was a plot device, a mechanic, a tool, a film mechanic, a writing tool, if you will, and basically gave this guy a pack of cigarettes, because again, 30s, like everybody loves cigarettes at this point in time. So if you were offered a cigarette, you're like, oh yeah, thanks, man, I'll take that cigarette, even if you didn't smoke, right?
Exactly. Oh yeah,
like, you give them to kids.
99% of the people were smoking at one point or another.
Especially in film, like in film Casablanca and everything like that. Just so many cigarettes, right? So this guy was just going around giving out marijuana cigarettes to people. Like he would lay a plan, set his little his nefarious plans into motion, and then he would give them marijuana cigarettes so that they would get all goofy, get all stupid, can't remember who was there. No one would take them serious. Like when the cops came and we're like, what are you doing? Like, just look it up. It's a really good. I'm done.
What was the title of that again?
Jewel Robbery.
Jewel Robbery.
1932.
Okay.
Yeah,
wow.
Really,
Good deal.
Really cool thing.
A little bit of history dropped.
But that's like the closest to comedy that I can see. Cannabis use was used, and even with the Cheech and Chong, the brothers, if you will, the brothers stoned. The comedy is in the ignorance or stupidity or dumbedification of the usage and the people who use it. It's. Does that make any sense? That's the comedy.
Yeah.
And that really brings
style.
up
dumb.
Yeah, and that brings up actually one of the first kind of talking points about the whole run. I mean, we'll at least mention the films. I mean, there's a touch of everything. The comedy albums, the stand-up comedy that they also did outside of the movies, all this great stuff that, pre-social media for sure, pre-internet, all this stuff, but yet, they had such a huge following. But besides the marijuana, it really was this duo comedy group of, let's go around. Everything involves the weed, but how do we get around the cops? How do we do this? And they show such different levels in each movie, but you kind of have that reoccurring theme of we're just doing our thing. We're actually not doing anything to harm anybody. It's everybody who's out to get us that is trying to pin us as these bad guys, when we're just
it was the role reversal. It was the
for sure.
Now the drug addict stoner guys, you like these guys. These are the good guys, and the cops that are trying to get them, they're the bad guys.
Yeah, Dragnet's no longer the thing.
Exactly.
It flipped the script. It was like, you make these this shit's was fucking way illegal when they were.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
There was no fucking medical marijuana sort of there wasn't a whisper of it really, at the time. So it's pretty significant that these guys took on, breaking society.
Yeah.
They look at where we are today.
You would have to think though that art imitates life, imitates art. That if it wasn't for their success with the sketches and the skits and stuff like that, their stand-up comedy routines and whatnot, easily translated to the art form of film. because what they painted on a stage, you could easily say, let's build a house. Like the Dave's Not Here. The Dave's Not Here thing, man. That's like
and if you know any level of Cheech and Chong, again, it was a recurring joke used in different ways throughout the movies, the stand-up comedy 90% stuff.
90% of it, just using the races. You know what I'm saying? Like always Cheech Marin, always like straight Mexican. You know what I mean? Like even in the Corsican Brothers. Like, where'd you go? Did you get lost? No, I was kidnapped by gypsies. Right. Sure.
Yeah. And you just look at, because again, this was 70s going into the 80s. You look at the dress for everything, man. I mean, like the way they dress, even now you're just sort of like, that's a little bit funky. But like then like Cheech always like, the pants up,
the crop top, and the suspenders.
Oh yeah. And then you had Chong that usually had some type of denim cut-off vest with like a big pot leaf on the back.
Motorcycle man. He was like, he was the motorcycle guy.
Right. And Cheech with his like very tricked out whatever vehicle.
Rockers, yeah.
Exactly. But Cheech, I always loved the cars that Cheech had, and in a lot of the movies.
Oh, the lowrider.
The lowrider stuff that he always had. Set, I mean, like the little frizzy balls along the edge of the ceiling, and it was so stereotypical, but at the same time, you're just like, ooh, that actually
it's in almost every film.
Yeah. But for like a lot of us suburban type kids who are just getting into weed and stuff, and you catch these movies, you're like, oh shit, is that how it actually is?
Is that what I turn into when I smoke weed?
Right. Can I be a vato too? It's like
the first Cheech and Chong film that I saw was the Corsican Brothers. Because that was the first one that my parents allowed me to see.
Oh, okay.
Because they were like, it's not a lot of drug use in it, right?
That was their first PG rated film.
I was about to say that's the tamest of all their films.
Which is hilarious because I rewatched it the other day in preparation for this thing. And you say tamest, but in the first scene, they're literally two kids, adolescent boys playing adolescent boys. One of them's masturbating to hand-drawn pictures of naked girls.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And like it's like this is PG.
Exactly.
1984 or 85. But I mean like it's
the rating systems over the past 50 years alone, how like things have changed under the rating system has been wild. To say the least.
80s and filmmaking, you really can't say that without bright colors and cocaine. You know what I mean?
So true.
It's just I really don't know. And that's just the film industry in general. It's the Wild West. There's a lot of stuff that can happen,
Absolutely.
I mean, a lot of people have trailers, a lot of people have their own little, places. So,
Right. So one of my favorite Cheech and Chong's, like a lot of us, it's usually the first one you see. Mine was actually Nice Dreams. Which to me, the whole concept, because like Casey was already talking about, like, how we were talking about like how the cops, it was so, anti-marijuana for years and years. But that was the movie that actually had what your first official crooked cop and some of these weed movies as well. Like you had the one cop going, no, I'll take the evidence, and he's smoking the shit out of it. And I cannot remember his name. Like, who he is.
What, are you talking about the cop?
The cop.
That's Stacy Keach.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And of course you see him in all sorts of shit, but then you go back and like see him in this and you're like, that's not him at all. What the hell is he doing? Oh my God. Because he does play like cops in other TV shows throughout the 80s and different like roles, but he's always like serious and like stern. Here he's just like, no, give me the weed, and then turns into a lizard. It's like
okay, I remember that now.
That weird strain from their buddy and the whole setup of that movie. I thought that was one of the greatest ones of all. But
was that the one with the pool where they had the pool?
Yeah, where it's
covered with the water tarp.
Yeah, from the sky
underneath.
From the sky, it looks like a pool, but underneath of it, it's like almost a whole California backyard just full of plants.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was great. Now, one of my
that's
all-time
what California
favorites,
looks like now.
Well, now, yes,
just like in backyards.
Things have changed. Creator of Blunt Truth.
Yes.
What's your fave on the Cheech and Chong here?
Well, sadly, I've only seen 3 of these. We have seen Still Smoking, Nice Dreams, and Nice Dreams and Up in Smoke. So out of all of these, I would probably still say Up in Smoke. The classic is probably my favorite.
The OG. I mean, to me, you also did kind of name the trifecta of what most people recognize with Cheech and Chong anyways.
And it's like, you definitely laughed out loud a bunch of times while we were watching these movies. Like, you definitely, you're definitely, you definitely laughed out loud, which is like, I don't know, it's like we have a little bit of an age gap between the two of us. So
I had seen Up in Smoke before though, but it's been a while. But there was definitely some parts that I was laughing.
And that's the great thing as we start talking about some of our favorites here is that certain things in these movies definitely did not date well just because of time era, but I wouldn't say there was anything major of just like, ooh, you shouldn't watch that now, like because of just certain things. Like, there's iffy things, but nothing like to the extreme of just like, no, I would not watch that again just because of certain language used or something, I
would say the and this is just the Me Too movement kind of like popping in my head. But there's a lot of misogyny in
Oh God,
Chong.
yes. Oh God, yes.
It's just, I mean,
that's
TNA,
and it's like that's built into the Pedro character. Like that's what he does. He chases
women.
That's his thing. He chases tail.
Well, on that, Frank, your all-time favorite Cheech and Chong, then, with less misogyny, please.
I mean, again, I'm going to have to go with if we're going something where I think the boundaries were pushed, and I think maybe they pushed the boundaries a little too early in their filmography, if you will.
Right.
Would be the Corsican Brothers, because they had characters. They weren't playing. They were playing the characters that they normally play, but these characters had depth and arc. The connection between the twins, one felt the other was pain and all that stuff like that, was a comedy element that wasn't necessarily stoner related, So you basically had your stoners making a movie that wasn't a stoner movie, but it was stoner comedy, in the sense that almost every one of the jokes were infantile, I guess is the word I'm looking for.
And do you think, like, and this is, again, just one stupid motherfucker's opinion on this shit, but the Corsican Brothers, like, based on what I remember from, like, the video store days of that age and different things, I would say the Corsican Brothers was almost the first Cheech and Chong movie that was, with the rating, how it was done, was probably the first one that it was like, oh, it's a little bit more doable for everybody. It's not a niche as a stoner film of some type.
I still think there were a lot of parents that walked out of that movie theater going, we should have never brought our kids to this.
No amount of guidance that we can give right now to
we need you to go get popcorn. Why do I have to go get popcorn? Our popcorn's full.
Just go.
Have you seen the costuming?
You have to go pee, right? Go pee.
Go pee
Just
right
go
now.
pee right now.
And the monologues, like just in general, in the Cheech and Chong films, it feels to me like the monologue or dialogue sequences and everything just stretch on that moment too long. That just a beat or two or three, almost the to a lesser degree, but still really in that vein, is the Family Guy.
Oh yeah, where you're getting to that point of, all right, it's starting to get annoying more than funny.
Exactly.
They go one or too many times.
Exactly.
Like when you go around the Dave's Not Here so many times, it's like, when does it stop become funny, and when does it become funny again?
Yeah.
Like with what is it? The Dude, Where's My Car?
Yeah.
I hated that film, but so many people loved that film. I was like, it's literally the same sentence over and over and over again.
They wrote a script. It's called Dude, Where's My Car?
Yeah, it's not
the first
deep
35 lines are, Dude, Where's my car?
I've got a tattoo that says, Dude, Where's My Car?
Dude,
so
what?
So Casey, with your great insight, what's your favorite Cheech and Chong of all time?
I don't. I kind of go Up in Smoke, man. Like,
all right,
like
so
it's
OG,
the classic.
Man, yeah.
It's the introduction, the film introduction to these guys.
Is that also the one where they have the weed car?
Where
the weed man.
Yeah, they're like trying to get over the border.
Made out of weed.
Yes.
Coming back from the border.
That was Up in Smoke, right?
Yeah.
That was when the whole van went up in smoke at the end.
And the cops are out back, like, eating pizza. like
Yeah.
freaking out.
That was like, what was it, the Blues Brothers police chase scene? pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
They were like, how do we make the Blues Brothers police chase scene even more intricate?
Yeah.
We'll just have a big pileup, literally. But
Yeah, but it's
I
the
digress.
classic giant oversized joint, like right in the beginning of the movie. It sets up the whole deadbeat son of a rich kid musician, gets tossed out of his
tropes were
whatever.
defined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
The tropes
everything
were
was
defined
laid
in
out
these
in that
moments.
movie. They ran through all the hits. You know what I mean? They did the jokes that's what their thing was. The jokes on the albums and stuff translated right onto the page, and they didn't write a ton of it. They didn't physically write out they improv. They did their thing. When those two guys got together and because when they were making this stuff, they lived together. And they were doing this shit all the fucking time. When they would get on a bit, that bit would last all fucking day with them. Whatever they were doing within their day, they would throw their bit into it, and that's how they wrote.
And if I remember correctly, Up in Smoke probably had the most famous scene of Cheech and Chong where they're in the car, smoke so much weed, and they're parked on the median.
Yes.
Oh, but
With all that-
we gotta preface that whole sequence because I think that sequence, that the tail end of that scene, where they're in the car and they get pulled over, I think that steals the thunder from some of the better jokes. In the beginning when he's like, oh, is that no, man, it's a toothpick, man.
Yeah.
No, man, hey, don't insult it. It's not a toothpick. Oh yeah, it is a toothpick.
And that's where they're.
I hope it's bigger. I hope your dick's bigger than this.
And shit, yeah.
Oh, that's my dick.
But that leads into the whole.
See, this shit is still 30 fucking years, 30 some odd years
40.
later, 40 years
40.
later.
Yeah.
We're still
80,
still laughing hysterically at these
and we
jokes.
still know him. We still know him.
Yeah.
So,
We still know him.
because that leads into the whole smoking the dog shit.
Yeah, it's Labrador, man.
Yes,
At the very
Labrador.
end of that is,
Labrador.
what do you think? What do you think, Great Dane?
But one thing that me and my friends used to say all the time, even though I love Nice Dreams, but like I said, this one scene is you can knock on a door. I hear you knocking, but you can't come in. It's just my license? No, man, it's on the back of the car,
on the
man.
back of the
Don't you see it? I would say Up in Smoke probably has some of the most quotable Cheech and Chong lines, is what it comes down to. I mean, you could love all the other movies, but those are the ones I always think of if I've got to quote Cheech and Chong.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. It's my favorite. That's definitely got to be my favorite because I feel like after that they're just sort of beating a dead horse in some ways. Some of the jokes are just the same fucking joke.
So,
again.
for sure.
So
yeah.
I see kind of, so it's kind of hard to not see the same characters, right? We're seeing the same characters. So what we see though in the overall arc of the films though is we see some growth in them. I believe, what is it, Nice Dreams? Yeah, that's that they've kind of, they're the same characters, but now they're in a nicer environment. They've kind of fleshed out.
They're living in a decent house.
Exactly,
they have their guy growing all the plants, and So by Nice Dreams, they're living large essentially at this point, but and one thing I had thought about on my own as well is that a lot of their stuff does start getting recycled, for sure. Mm-hmm. Where it's just how many times can you say we're smoking dog shit or smoking something, still funny, but at the same time, and that's where I think maybe Corsican Brothers was a good change of pace just for how the running of the films had been. But as fans, you're just sort of that's where they teeter off because we want the weed and we want the stoner motherfuckers.
And they were always really adamant upon having control. They wanted to have control of their own property. Really, it's
oh yeah,
one of them wrote and or directed and or
both of them wrote 90%
most of it. But
Tommy Chong directed a lot of them.
Yeah, Tommy Chong directed most of them. So it's he had his fingers in every part of it. He's a director.
Yeah.
Which, in the end ended up sort of inflating his head, and that's sort of the reason they stopped.
I don't know.
Working
I don't know
together.
if it's. I don't know if where ego, because again, like I have to meet somebody before I can judge their ego.
Well, it's
because, you know, like
That's
but
just
the
what I
growth-
had heard from
But the growth. But what I hear,
Howard
but
Stern's interview with him.
The grapevine and the
what I hear,
interviews.
What
yeah.
I hear though is the growth. Like he wanted growth.
Yeah, he wanted
to- to
a
grow
different kind of growth.
something. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
He's always the one playing the characters.
And
Anyway.
it becomes
yeah.
apparent because I mean we definitely again just one stupid motherfucker's opinion on these guys were definitely the OG of the stoner movie, the involving weed, different shit, definitely starting to cap off with this partnership of stoner dudes in comedies, which to me you see in all sorts of films, like anywhere from Dude, Where's My Car to Kevin Smith stuff, obviously, that we definitely talk about coming back from. The question is, we have these movies that essentially stopped in the mid-'80s. I know there was some stand-up comedy stuff that was still done. Where have these guys been since?
Who, the Cheech and Chong
Yeah.
themselves?
And I kind of know I'm just saying that for, obviously, aesthetics.
for leadway, for segue, segue purposes. Yeah. I think, like if you look at they both split ways, went in their
They weren't
creative-
talking for a while,
creative
yeah.
different
Yeah,
ways.
yeah,
They
there
stopped
was a hot
talking for a
minute.
while.
First thing to really happen was Born in East LA, and that was probably one of the first Cheech and Chong movies I can't say Cheech and Chong, but it was a Cheech.
Yeah.
Right,
It was
right.
so Cheech did a cover song, like they always did records, and they did heavily musical, and like Cheech did a song
Born in East LA based
Born
on
in
the
East
Bruce
LA,
Springsteen, yeah.
like cover of Born in the USA, Bruce Springsteen, and somebody was like, "You ought to make that into a movie," so he made it into a movie, and that was like my first introduction into that kind of humor, sort of, you know what I mean? Because it was Cheech doing fucking Pedro, you know what I mean? He was like,
But solo. Well, weirdly
"What's
solo.
happening?" He was like training the
when he
guys
was
to
teaching
Oh,
everybody
yeah,
English.
yeah.
teaching the
That
guys
was
to come
awesome.
to
Dude,
come
that
back to
was
LA.
great, teaching
Right.
everybody
He's
English.
like,
What's happening?
yeah. He's like, all you have to say is, "What's happening?" And he was like teaching them how to
How to
walk
stand
with,
against the
like,
wall
how to stand against the
and- yeah.
wall, how to look
properly
normal.
cholo. I
Yeah,
believe.
Yeah,
exactly. He's
absolutely,
like,
absolutely.
No, you pull the bandana way down like this, so you have to look like this.
My introduction was way lamer. Was Oliver and Company. Disney.
We're going to chalk
Cheech
that up to
Marin.
the age
Wait,
difference.
that was the cat one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact I
Oliver
even
Twist.
know that was the cat one terrifies me.
But no, Cheech Marin was in that. He played the little the Chihuahua.
Yeah.
No, you don't say.
You don't say.
He played a what? I'm calling stereotype roasting right
See,
there.
and then he played a hyena. Then he played a
Stereotype
hyena in The Lion King.
Yeah.
And the role that Whoopi Goldberg took that
Yeah.
role?
Yeah.
Like the role that she
Wait, Whoopi
took.
Goldberg was in Lion King?
Yeah, it was one of the.
She was the hyena.
The head hyena.
Yeah.
and like
Not old enough to remember that.
the person who wrote those parts wrote that for Tommy Chong.
Yeah.
And they meant it to be Cheech and Chong.
So Oprah,
Like-
Yeah.
Oprah took over
Not-
Tommy Chong's position. Oprah,
Yeah,
right? That's what we're talking
No,
about, right?
Whoopi.
Whoopi.
Oh, Whoopi.
Whoopi.
Yeah,
Oh, my
Whoopi
bad.
Goldberg.
Damn, I need to hit another one. I think it's time.
Are you sure?
Yes, because that was ice cream. I just hit like 3 ice cream hits. I'm gonna do some T1000.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
dude,
Like it's time
can
to-
I T1000
You
with
want
you?
T1000 as well?
Can I?
Do you
We're
got a
gonna-
grinder?
Anyway,
Anyway.
so it's fair
I don't
enough
have
to
a
say
grinder
that
in here. I have a grinder.
as you guys are getting your next hits ready, Cheech, I want to say, definitely took more of the actor route, and Chong did more behind the scenes, which is kind of what they did in their original movies as well. He did, well, he got away from Hollywood for a hot minute, but he was still.
He was also in jail.
Yeah,
Well,
he
there
went to,
was that-
he went to
What?
federal
Chong
prison.
went to jail.
Well,
yeah.
Chong went to jail. Wait, did Chong go to jail for? That's it.
Yeah.
For weed.
I'm assuming
For
weed.
weed.
Yeah. I'm
No,
pretty.
for
That's some bullshit.
It was paraphernalia.
Oh, paraphernalia.
It was transporting paraphernalia across state lines. It was a federal crime.
Oh, that's
and
right.
they kind of
Like, I
like
think I
made
remember that.
they
Yeah,
made
yeah,
like
yeah.
a big like
Because of who he was.
Yeah, because of
and-
who he was. And then he went and served time in jail. Like they kicked his door down and like woke him up at 2:00 in the morning and raided his house, and they were like, "Where's the weed?" And he was like, "Over there, and over there, and over here, and over there. I got some by my bed.
You're stepping on one of my plants, man.
You just busted in.
And
bro.
went to jail.
Yeah.
So him like he's
Tommy
criminal.
Chong.
But now he
He's
has
a
his
criminal.
own. Yeah, he ended up
So is
getting
Martha Stewart.
prostate
that out
cancer, and he's a survivor of prostate cancer. And he says like a big part of his rehab for his prostate cancer was due to like getting some people to make him some weed, and now he has his own strains.
He's very
of
successful now in
weed.
his
Well,
weed,
that
Called
I mean, he's
Chong's
done some
Choice.
acting since then, like that
Chong's
70s
Choice.
show and a few other
Oh,
things.
yeah.
that 70s show, reoccurring character.
But him,
I
what?
did not lose my legs in Vietnam for you to ask me for extra fries, man. But you have both your legs. I said I did not lose my legs in Vietnam, man.
Very true. But one of the like crazy things about just the evolution since them making these movies originally in the 80s and everything, I say the 80s, there was a little bit in the 70s, is where even now, like I remember a few years ago, Tommy Chong and his wife were totally sponsoring this one product to help you dehydrate your plants to smoke and grind and do what you needed to.
Yeah, he's been
It
doing
was
like he's been doing bongs and like paraphernalia for like a long time, and like trying to do it as legally as possible. He
He also showed up in the great feature of from Full Moon distribution of Evil Bong, and I believe even
yes,
Evil
it's very
Bong
true.
2.
Yeah.
Oh yes, you're looking at me, and I'm surprised you have not seen these.
So horror films now get out.
You-
I'm gonna shock you. Not a huge fan of horror films.
And how
It
many
has to
zombie
be-
films
that's
have
why
you
you're-
done?
Exactly. It
You've
has
done
to-
so many zombie movies.
I've literally. All right, so I've been.
That's why you're wrong.
I've been bitten by the trifecta. I have literally. I've been bitten by a werewolf on the neck. I've been bitten by a vampire on the neck, and I've been bitten by a zombie on the neck. All in films.
Yes.
So literally, I have the trifecta. The only thing I need is mummy rot, and really, like I've been in every horror film. So it's not. It's the. Okay, so I'm gonna
You
get
still
a lot
need
of
like
flack
a
on this. I'm
geneticist
getting
to
a lot
like
of flack
take
on
a
this.
part of you and then grow like a mutant you, like, and raise you your
A Frankensteinian
yeah.
style of.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of like that.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
Go for it.
What were we talking about?
Oh, that's I guess this is where my job comes in. I guess that why they
This
actually
is why
keep
you
me.
don't smoke.
This is why I don't smoke while recording. You are correct, sir. Because I'd be sitting there going,
then it would just be
"Where's
all of
Dave,
us.
man? Where's Dave?
Not here, man.
He's not here, man." But so Chong made that big comeback after basically rehab, jail, and everything. Cheech really just went the actor route for the most part.
Nash Bridges, man.
Dude,
Nash Bridges.
that he showed up in a cop show as a cop was so disheartening for a young stoner.
What about Ice Cube, man? Look at Ice Cube.
Ice-T?
That's what I said. Don't contracept me.
This is why you're better behind the camera, sir. Damn yous. Damn yous to hell.
Damn, it's all the hell.
Make this happen to
Oh,
me
sorry.
too.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
Here, feel it.
Little T1000.
Well, yeah, we have to.
We're giving
both
our
get attacked.
camera lady the giggles.
I know. You're doing great.
Yeah.
You're doing great. Again, we bring Frank on an episode and all hell breaks fucking loose.
No, it's not all
it's-
hell. Like, see, we're actually indulging, and like this is what happens.
No, you're just happy that someone else can
Yeah,
indulge
I
with
am.
you while recording. That's all.
I am an enabler.
I am.
He is
I mean,
very
we
true.
all have
happy
our
to be
roles.
enabled.
You have your lot in life and
Yes.
you take it.
They're called producers in Hollywood, but
Yes,
you know,
yes,
I mean,
it's very true.
True.
Very true.
Yeah.
we just,
Yes.
our job is just to make
Go
sure that
chase
you
your
get what
funny
you want.
dream.
You get what you- Did you get what you want?
Exactly.
All right.
Hopefully, we won't time travel or.
Oh, let's talk about that real quick. So the theory is
Good
time
God,
travel
man.
exists, right? Time travel exists. Space travel exists. We already have space travel in the form of cars, automobiles, planes, everything
Yeah,
like this.
yeah.
We can travel through space a lot
Yeah.
quicker than using our normal average modes, right?
Yeah.
Time travel exists. We can travel through time. There is a machine that can travel through time. The problem is we haven't figured out space-time travel. So you can travel 12 minutes into the past, and now you're floating in the middle of space and just dead space because because the heliocentric
At least his diatribe stayed on topic.
What are we talking about again?
Because if you go in the past, you're not where you were.
Exactly.
Isn't that like Interstellar?
Because
Interstellar.
the whole planetary system is
everything
moving.
is moving.
Everything's
The galaxy's moving.
So
The-
even
everything's
if you were
moving,
5
yeah.
seconds from now, you'd either be in
You'd
the
be, like,
center
in
of the
a
Earth,
way different
or
place.
way the hell over there out in the dead of space.
Yeah.
Which Cheech and Chong movie is that?
Right?
This one.
We just wrote it.
So
It's Cheech and Chong in space.
Cheech and Chong, we've given you your next great
Space
adventure
Chong.
stoner movie.
Space
Hit us up on Blunt
7-year-old
Truth. You'll see all the
Cheech and
links
Chong
on the
in
show.
space.
See, we can bring back E.T., the extra testicle. That's the like.
Oh, good God.
That which one?
See, what
movie
you
was
got
that
him?
from? That
You
was
got
like
him
next.
started,
That was
man.
in next movie.
I almost said Lance would be proud.
And then you did.
You totally gave it away with that one, man.
Monologue failure.
Right.
All right. Let's see where this
So-
takes us.
See where, because as we talk more on Cheech and Chong this episode, while they do their thing, Miss Director Lady
Yes.
and Writer Lady, Cheech and Chong have done their own thing. They've come back together in recent years. However, based on what we've
tastes
mentioned
like-
so far, the great stuff they've
Interesting.
done, who is the biggest stoner, Cheech or Chong?
Chong.
I was about to say that was kind of a given, but
Yeah,
I just
obviously
wanted
with all
to,
the stories that we've just talked about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because part of what I was saying too is that Cheech really stepped away from that whole persona. In general, Chong embraced it even more.
Yeah.
So
Well, again, I don't know. I think if you're, man, my brain just went in 20 different ways real quick. That T1000 is on point.
apparently so.
But you were asking her
I'll
a
let you know
question,
in,
not
like,
me.
4
So
seconds.
I'm gonna go ahead and let you answer.
Well,
okay.
answer, but I mean, you can answer too. Who's the biggest stoner
Well,
outside of this room? Cheech and Chong.
on screen stoner or like
Just in
or
general.
in
I
real
think
life.
I would say just because my answer is still the same with Chong, but
We all know that Chong probably smokes as much, but I don't see Cheech not smoking as much. I just see Cheech being a little bit more manic energy, where Chong, like if I was to define them, Chong would be sativa, or Chong would be indica, where Cheech would be sativa.
But you just
Where,
described their
Yeah,
movies as
yeah.
well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
Because I
exactly.
mean, that's like you say, the persona to what they could be in real life. But and I take it as just this was a very generalized question. Of course, you had to deep dive at shit.
Sorry,
Frank, but
And usually it's Casey.
Yo, man.
yeah, man, we just gotta go.
I know,
once.
man.
I'm getting stereo here of this episode of these guys, going on. Right. Holy shit! But the biggest, well, I mean, because you need an answer too as well. Who, in your opinion, oh God help us, who is the biggest stoner out of Cheech and Chong?
See, I'm saying it's full on Tommy Chong, and I think I only argue that because I feel like he has lived like that lifestyle. He's sort of become almost
was
a
my point.
caricature
Yeah.
of himself, like in old age, because the man's what, almost
70.
80. He's 70 something.
He doesn't
Yeah,
look a
like-
day over 40.
Right?
How dare you?
Right?
Cancer survivor,
You bastards.
but like he kept his foot down on the whole normalizing marijuana.
Like this should be a regular,
like,
everyday thing that people just do.
That's what he
Yeah.
became. Like he started a business, and now he's a pot dealer. That's
Yeah. No, fair.
You know what I'm saying? He's like,
So apothecary,
Maybe.
I think is a lost term. That,
Yeah.
that,
Oh,
Since
absolutely.
we're definitely talking
And
about
totally
some
agree with
plant,
that. Absolutely,
you
yeah.
know,
and it's like
A way to heal using natural things from the earth.
God gave us this, right?
Yeah.
You know, at what point
Exactly.
in time did God give us Oxycontin?
Nope.
Exactly. Exactly. Fair.
Yeah.
Totally
I mean,
fair.
even cocaine, was used in Heron and all this other things were used by armies and stuff like this. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, was it?
Yeah, poppies have
the
been
poppies to
poppies have been very, very, very expensive for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
like
Exactly. I mean,
like for a reason.
what was
you
it?
know?
Who was it? The oil tycoon Rockefeller He was the guy that modernized medicine, turned everything into a pill form, factory formatted.
Oh yeah, assembly line, all that stuff. Yep,
that was
you're
that
right.
guy. So
So-
until then, it was plants, baby.
It was all plants. So we agreed, like, overall, Chong is probably the dude for who I would definitely buy weed from in a heartbeat.
I don't know, man.
But,
I still want to see what Cheech smokes. You know what I mean?
I
'Cause he's
think
got that
I
high
think
energy
Cheech is
shit.
They
more
did
the
get
casual.
back together, and they started doing
they-
more since. Like in the
Right.
last 10 years, they've been doing stuff together. So it's entirely possible that Cheech still smokes. I just haven't seen
No,
it.
I've
I've
always
seen
considered
bits and
Cheech a
pieces of
casual
it.
smoker. Like, he's just not always up front. Like, he probably just sits at, like, right before or right after dinner, sits in his lounge chair, lights up a joint, and just puts on a TV
I feel like
show.
he
and
already
just
put that
chills.
shit on blast, like being that character. You know what I mean? Like, so he doesn't really have to talk about it. So like that question, oh, do you really smoke weed? Like thing that gotcha.
And he's like, I'm
interview
fucking Cheech
question. He's
Marin,
like,
shut up.
I'm motherfucking Cheech, fuck you. Like, how
Right.
dare you ask me if I
So
smoke
you're saying
weed?
it's easier for him
Like-
to answer that question than it is Buzz Aldrin be answering the "Did you actually go to the moon?" question?
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
There's definitive.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I smoke.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, of course. Duh.
Yeah.
So it's like he didn't have to. I don't feel like he had to like hide it to be like his other roles. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And
without a
and
doubt, yeah.
Get his TV fame that he got. You know what I mean? I didn't feel like it deterred him at all. I feel like he's like a sitcom actor, perfectly credible, like good actor.
Again, like the look at California. It's been legal since what 1996. Medical marijuana.
Think
since,
so.
I think
Something, at
96
least the
or
initial
8.
like steps and
something like that. I want to say the early 90s, but the proclivity for its okayness. Let's look at alcohol use just in general in society forever. It wasn't until the 80s did it really become like you guys really shouldn't drink at work. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
It
yeah.
wasn't until like the 80s
Yeah.
did people be like, you shouldn't be drunk all the time.
Right,
like-
you shouldn't be driving down the street with the beer
With
in your
the
hand.
beer in your hand.
Yeah.
With
Well,
the
that
kid
goes back
with no
to like the
seatbelt,
whole
Yeah,
Yeah.
like how rural you were in America sort of thing too, because like you didn't have clean water everywhere. And if you stilled something, so if you made anything into alcohol, it would stay. You would be able to have water to drink. Yes, it had alcohol in it, but it's like, they made ciders and stuff like that, and the little kids even, like that's just what you drank. That was the safest thing to drink without you like dying. And it's only become since we've had infrastructure really to deliver clean water or technology to purify the water that you're pumping out of wells that's not full of iron and all kinds of bullshit that's going to make your hair fall out and your teeth fall out and all that shit.
Get 'em.
So I don't know why we're talking about this.
I don't either. You went on a tangent.
That was about to say,
We're about to go into SWJ territory right here.
yeah, we've definitely. We go off the rails a little bit on this show,
Yeah.
to say the least, but
There's rails. I was not told that there were rails.
There are no rails.
there are no rails for you.
Just Ajax.
right, just Ajax.
Yeah, that's another reference. If you didn't get that, that's a reference.
Yeah.
Fair enough to say, though, Cheech and Chong, based on they've had their belief system, they've had still continued success since these original movies, their stand-up stuff in the 70s, 80s, and everything. So as we do on this show, just to make sure, we still come back to our original question of, were these stoner movies or movies about stoners? And I still stick to my answer of yes.
Just yes.
Just yes.
Yes.
So,
I agree. Yes.
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 And to be the devil's advocate, I would go the opposite direction. There was no yes until there was a no first. So was this a film about stoners? No, not so much, maybe. Was this a film by stoners? Not so much, maybe. After the fact the film was made? Abso-freaking-lutely it was.
So just say yes.
Yes.
I absolutely like these guys created like
These guys were the OGs of the stoner movie.
paved the
period.
way for any
Yes.
of the other movies we have or will we'll talk about. You know, any future stoner movies will owe their existence.
There's still a lot of ground. There's still a lot of ground out there. So much like horror films, much like any other genre.
Oh, there's always
films,
more to go.
There's always going to be
for sure
the new genre of stoner film. You know, there's always going to be that next new. But as far as like stoners in the limelight of the main character, because let's talk about what film like what is a film if a film has like Train Spotting. Well, that's obviously an addiction film. It's about addiction.
True.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the main character is addicted. Now let's look at the show Shameless. Like, dude, there's so many main characters in that film. Like, what's the show about? You know, like you have to clump it in.
Well, and then that's also why we've for a lot of things we've talked about, we've always specified that it's usually a duo. When you start getting into the ensemble cast, you go in a whole different direction. But like anywhere from Jay and Silent Bob to Redman, Method Man, and How High,
the
you always had
stoner
the
character ends up being like the sidekick. So it's like in all the
for a lot of stuff,
in a bunch of movies, like that's like one of the tropes. It's like one of the dudes, like either the best bud or the one of the dudes in the group is like the hey man, or like fucking smoke all the time, man. Like in these movies, so one of the guys is the drug dealer. One of the guys is the is the full on. I don't know. Like that's sort of how a lot of these movies have sort of presented themselves. But like Pineapple Express is one of those ones where it's like they're both stoners. You know what I mean? Like that's way more.
Pineapple Express was one of the ones that also included a closer orbit for the exterior characters. You know, like the guy with the chimpanzee. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't.
That's
Grandma's boy.
Yeah.
See, God damn it. Who smoked this T100? T1000 is some amazing shit. Wow. Hey, go out there today. Buy some T1000. But no, like the characters though, they're getting pulled closer and closer. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not having it's not an ensemble cast. It's the duo as you're talking about.
Right. Yeah. We keep a duo.
It's easier as a filmmaking point of view. It's easier to do a duo film than almost any other film. Like it's just it's cost effective to do a cast of two.
It's easier to direct one or two people than, hey, you five, no, you're all moving in the wrong direction. And absolutely. So would you say that these movies are still good to watch just for what they are, or should you definitely be lighting a bowl at the opening credits?
I would like to answer this one by
it's a yes or no.
By saying
it's a yes or no, Frank.
I would like to answer this one by saying
may I preface this by
know your crowd. Like know your crowd. Because I watched Corsican Brothers with my wife. First time she'd ever seen it, didn't even know. I had to explain it to her and whatnot. She watched the first 5 minutes of the film, didn't even get to the scene where they burned down, like 10 minutes in, where they burned down their cottage. Like, didn't even get to that sequence where it goes off the rails. But like she was like, I can't do this. Like this is bad. And I was like, what do you mean it's bad? She's like, this is bad. Like, and I was like, this
Meanwhile, while you're lighting up your bowl,
I'm like, this is great. I'm chuckling. I'm laughing the whole time. I know that one's about to hit the other one. It makes him hurt and stuff.
Right?
Like, so it's like there's a lot of like fondness, and I guess it's like watching these old '80s movies. Being a 40-something-year-old guy, and you're like, this nostalgia and whatnot. But I texted Becky. I was like, this film doesn't hold up. Like it just doesn't. It doesn't.
Fair, yeah.
It doesn't hold up because of filmmaking. Because filmmaking has changed so dramatically.
Well, again, we're also talking about 40 years. This is probably some of the oldest material we've talked about on this show, and in comparison,
because
it's hard to get that to hold up, no matter how relevant it may be for what they're doing. How it's done and what is being done is so different. Period.
I don't know. I felt like Up in Smoke looked really good.
It still looks
it still looks good.
You can see the progression, and that's what I was looking at. It's like you can see the earlier stuff, and you can see how in the earlier stuff cinematography is a little wonky, like just a little weird. Like this shot lingers on the wide shot too long, or it's there's
the
nothing
pace
but
was weird a little bit. Like the very beginning of that movie,
pace,
like him walking around his car.
Yeah,
and
for
like
the credit scene, that was so long.
But it was so long. But like, it was awesome. If that shit just went twice as fast, if it was like that whole sequence just went twice as fast, and the credits twice as fast. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
But is
yeah.
that,
that
but is
shit
that
would have fucking
us?
like barrel rolled right into the movie. But
But is that us? Like
that's
with
us
today's,
because
filmmaking,
that
and being
style
such a
of
fast
film,
pace,
that style of pacing wasn't really popular then.
Well,
No.
it's so funny because one of the things I like to do is experiment in film. Like I'll take weekends and just kind of BS like a film. One of the ones I did was I said I want to see if I can shoot a Twilight, like the Twilight show or Twilight show. Yeah, Twilight show.
Yeah,
right?
you kind of did. Yeah.
And I was like, I want to see if I can actually shoot a
Twilight
short
Zone?
film. Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
There it is. Yeah.
Dude, I was about to say, did I smoke something too much?
Because you almost went with it. You're like, yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right.
He's not talking about the sparkly vampires, is he? What?
No, we didn't do that one. No.
No, I was
Yeah.
about to say, I don't see Frank doing the sparkly vampire shit, but...
Not yet. Now you've got me inspired.
Fuck.
But we took a weekend just to see if we could shoot something in the Twilight Zone style, and we did. We had the opening narrator who faded off into the shadows and the black and white everything and we shot everything one shot. There were 4 long one takes, if you will.
Okay, yeah.
Ensemble cast and stuff like this, to where it was just like the blocking and everything had to go into it. But it was just one of those things where if you prove that you can do something or follow a style,
right,
then you're kind of adapting to what has been. And what they did with these films in general is pilot a whole new flight. They just went into a whole new
for sure.
way
Yeah.
of doing it. And they had to do it with just the traditional styles of cinematography that came behind them.
Yeah.
Like you got to think if Chong's directing it, right? And you've been in this position, who's DPing it?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, because
Mm-hmm.
your DP and your director might have completely different visual ideas.
Yeah. Been there. Been there.
Right?
It's like,
Totally been there.
And that even goes into, because we are bringing this to a close a bit here, Becky, what we talk about on some of the episodes is with Cheech and Chong, and for you working on The Blunt Truth and everything, all the projects related, where's the Cheech and Chong been the influence for you besides the obviously like stoner
The
duo?
stoner duo?
Yeah, besides that, which we know we talk about heavily. But I mean, is there anything that really comes from these movies? I mean,
Well, besides there being, the first stoner duo, obviously.
right.
I mean, I definitely see the characteristics between them. Chong being the extreme stoner of the one, and Cheech being the talkative one. I can see
Right.
that between the Maggie and MJ for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. Although it is kind of switched in that, Cheech is the more charismatic lady killer, you could almost say, with the muff diver on the back of the car.
License plate,
Muff diver.
Yeah. He does love the ladies in
And
these
Chong
movies.
being,
Yeah.
although he's more of the stoner style, he is definitely more of the less talkative.
Yeah.
So I can see a little bit of it. I don't know if I could say that they're inspired of my film as much, or if I
Not
was
directly,
inspired.
at
Not
least.
directly,
Yeah.
no. But I can't say I would make a stoner film without them. You can't say any of the stoner films.
There's a tinge in there somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
There's got to be an inspiration from something
Absolutely.
related to what they've done for sure.
and what is a stoner film?
Don't but so and as we do bring this to a close as well, first off, a big thank you to Frank for joining us. We would love to also hear. We know that you worked on the DTF series a little bit. Did you, or am I thinking too much of the different
He
projects?
did a few things.
What was that one?
The DTF one, what was that?
I'm horrible with the titles.
Down
Becky kills me every time.
Yeah,
down to
with
film?
Film down to film.
Down
That's
to
right.
Down to film.
Yeah.
Yes, Frank, just go with that.
Deep
You
therapy
remember-
feelings.
So
Deep therapy feelings. That's
yes,
With Maggie and MJ.
With
that's
Maggie
right.
and MJ.
Yeah, that's right.
right.
Yeah, with that thing.
Oh, is that that's not the original?
It is the
Yeah,
original.
Holy
It's broken
crap,
and
it is
everything.
the original. Oh man,
It's
check
broken.
that
It's
out.
broken.
See this was a day.
That was the day.
That was so.
That was a day.
But other than working with Becky on the projects, and obviously we have the new film,
Stop.
I'm just gonna sit here and watch. I'm just gonna watch. But God, I already have to deal with these two on a regular basis.
I forgot we're doing an audio thing. It's not a visual.
No, it's visual
No,
as
it's
well.
visual.
Well, I was wondering because there's a lot of things looking at me.
There are cameras.
We have you on film playing with a cock.
Well,
Yeah.
are they cameras or are they sentient beings that we haven't figured out their language yet?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
Much like, wait, that one's smart?
Yes.
I'm scared.
Yeah.
And that one can see everything. just
See everything.
All right, so we're back on point.
Back onto your DTF.
Yes.
I was about to say,
DTF.
you just used up all your time. No, I'm just kidding.
And good night.
Good night, good luck. But you've been working with Becky on the projects and everything for the Blunt Truth series, everything there. What, and you've mentioned a couple things, but what is there more specifics on what you've been working on within this time frame as well? Like I know you've worked on various projects, or is there anything you can talk about? Because we know sometimes things got to be hush hush for a little while, and
It's almost like the magician, like telling the magic trick and stuff like that,
Sure.
It's so I'm not a magician, nor do I have any magic tricks, so I'll tell you everything.
Beautiful.
And here we go. How long ago was it, the Blunt Truth? Like the
It was almost
DTF?
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Was it no, I think it was longer than that, wasn't
No,
it?
it's 2 years ago.
2 years ago?
2019.
yeah.
Okay. So I've been back in Richmond for no, I think it's
Almost
almost
2, yeah.
Okay, wow. All right, cool. Well, happy birthday, Jeremy London.
Yeah.
Yeah, today's Jeremy London's birthday.
Great.
Hey man, it was good.
Yeah.
It was good.
It
workout.
was
I liked
great,
it.
yeah.
I liked how many smoke breaks we got. That was
Yeah.
awesome. Like for real. Like I've never worked with. All right. So long story short, I'm there.
Yeah, right.
I'm on this. Damn you. So, long story shorter,
Come on now.
We're on set. We're out in BFE, Texas, and I really wish I could remember it. Rome, Texas.
Was it Rome? Okay.
Rome,
He was
yeah.
out. Mike put it as outside of Fort Worth.
Yeah.
I think it was Rome. Yeah,
Was
I
it
think
Rome? Okay.
But that's just like you could say
think-
Richmond, but I'm actually from Chesterfield County.
I'm in
so it's-
Verina. I'm literally 2 minutes from Richmond. There's
Yeah,
like
so
the
it's-
lines right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like way out, way out. The best part was I didn't have to worry about any planes, no trains, no cars.
No.
Like that trifecta of not having to worry about that for audio was beautiful.
Yes.
Nice.
The light pollution was none.
Yeah.
At night, we literally had control of everything, which we had control of everything because of the beautiful set deck that you did.
Yes.
Good job.
There you
on
go.
that. What was the question?
You're supposed to be talking about what you've been doing since then, not what you did on the set.
Oh, I was trying to get a point of reference. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So 2 years it's been
Yeah.
since then. Yeah, and then I got lost in reminiscing.
Go figure.
Oh, man, so much. One of the things I really...
Give us the outline.
Oh gosh! So, the audio world has kind of taken me on a ride for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Seems to be a kind of a devoid of audio people in the film industry, and the department's getting kind of crushed in its budget and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
So it makes it kind of difficult to as an independent contractor, kind of bust ass find work. I like to consider myself independent film. I have definitely the 10,000 hours plus in a couple of different fields to be union if I wanted to.
Sure.
Not to go ahead and self-gloat, but I will. I've been doing.
I mean,
since,
you know where your strengths are. So,
I've been doing film
He's
for 20
amazing.
years. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So 20 years of just working in film. I freaking love it. I can't help but tell a story. And one of the things that I found that is a mandatory asset for any kind of project is there has to be passion behind it.
Sure.
If somebody, and I don't care, as long as they're above the line, as long as it's a director, hopefully the director's passionate, writer's passionate, creator's passionate.
Passionate.
Yeah. You think?
The passion.
The passion,
think?
because there's gonna be long ass days, and
Yeah.
and those days get such beat downs. But it just becomes like, okay, we're pushing. We've got to make this day. You got to keep that chipper, positive energy. And that's where
Keeping the hustle alive.
exactly. That's
Yeah.
where the passion comes from. So, finding a lot of projects that I've found people being passionate about has pulled me into doing more audio work.
Okay.
Because I'll work for hey guys, self plug. I'll work for a lower budget than what you think I will.
When the bidding comes in for that position. and
Exactly.
Sure. Yeah.
As long as the tools are there, then the job's really not hard.
Fair enough.
Anything in film, and I'm gonna catch flack, but anything in film is really not hard as long as you just focus on what you're responsible for. Because if you only focus on what you're responsible for, then you can do your best job at it. Somebody else is responsible for putting your piece into other pieces with other puzzle
The editing
parts.
and the different whatever.
It
Yeah.
is. Like there's a
Yeah.
even on set there's an AD and a whole AD department that's responsible for kind of like moving all the pieces together. So in sound, especially in sound, I consider myself like our team an island unto itself within an island unto itself.
Hawaii.
Well, but one of the little tiny changes doesn't even have people like living on it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, no one wants to go to that island. Why? It's just sharp rocks. Like, why do we want to go there? Sounds great.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So yeah, but since then I've been focusing a lot on audio. Creatively, I've been focusing on this 360 thing, putting together a bunch of different projects, doing a lot of writing. We just finished a short film in a weekend. We did three half days, three 4-hour days, which is like unheard of.
Yeah.
Because this camera, like I can literally punch in, get a tight shot, get my wide angle shot, get a medium 2 shot, do everything with just this one freaking camera.
Yeah.
So I'm learning the hell out of this thing. I'm like, if this is as good as they say it is, let me see how good it can be. And this is only one little tiny one. Once we get to the point where I'm looking at the $16,000 or $20,000 big camera,
Yeah. The little bit different.
then I'm gonna call Tom Hanks and be like, "Hey, Tom, you want to be in a ghost film?"
Fair enough. And you had mentioned too, I mean, obviously, from what we've heard from like Mike, Sam, and everything, obviously you guys were having a blast while creating DTF and everything. So we look forward to the new work on the film. Of course, any of the projects that you want to drop a link, of course, give to Becky. So make sure we have links for the shows. We love the cross promotion here, especially as much as we talk about like for Geeks Under the Influence and what everybody else has been doing. Let us know. We'll do that. Who had any final words, especially from our director lady, boss lady? What new should we be looking for? Anything to relate back to the Cheech and Chong for this episode?
Not at this time, no. I would say, Frank, was there anything you wanted to say about the feature film or the future of what?
Yes. We're working on the next leg of the next step.
Right.
The next step of the next leg of the pyramid. The cool thing about pyramids is you just build the foundation bigger and you can build the pyramid higher. So what we're doing is putting together a little bit of a crowdfunding campaign. So now this is now correct me if I'm wrong, but this is sort of in homage to Mr. Kevin Smith's grassroots effort with his film and putting together like his beginning of his career. Correct? Otherwise, I'd be saying, let's go to the bank and just get you a loan.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I mean, so that's and one of the things that I've kind of enjoyed about the whole process, because this has been, when did we get together with Doug in his yard and shoot?
That was 2017.
2017, so that's 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So for 5 years we've been adding Lego
More and more.
pieces
Yeah.
to this project and more and like that's awesome. Like, I mean, that's kind of what you need to do when you time, effort, money. You know what I mean? Like we gotta make those,
Get that balance.
We gotta find that balance.
Yep.
We don't have it. We gotta find it. And it's one of the things that I'm proud of you with DTF. I'm proud of like you with the podcasting and everything like this. Casey over here with the music. It's we're not rich. You know,
No.
we don't live rich. We don't dream rich. We don't die rich. But I'm gonna tell you right now, we damn sure act like we are. I'm sorry, that's called big dick energy right there.
There you go. Well, and like you were mentioning before, it's the passion where, like, obviously you two working on the project, this has been Becky's baby for years now.
And
As a partner,
That's
helping
amazing.
out however he can, as a friend, helping my friends succeed as best as we can, which we do this show, word of mouth, everything. It's going to be good things, and that's exactly why I had no problem hopping on board this project to hopefully come to as much fruition as possible through this. So,
well, I'm glad to have you on board.
Well, thank you.
It was really kind of fun because when she was talking with me about this, I was like, oh, you're way out. Like I do film.
Yeah. Oh, no, well, see, I'm the opposite because I'm sitting here going, yo, you're going to have cameras. Fuck. Did Mama say I had a face for camera? I don't know. I mean,
it's funny, my wife said the same thing. She saw me walking around the house, kind of mumbling to myself. And she was like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm just having conversations that could possibly be had.
right.
Like, all I know is I'm going to be, like, talking. And talking usually comes in the form of a script. Say these lines.
Yes. Nope. Not here.
No.
Not, you're on the wrong podcast for a script, sir. Sorry.
What's all these papers in front of us?
Notes.
Reference notes.
Just notes.
Did you have to make them in a language I can't read?
Not.
That sounds like the T1000 talking.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
So
I just
it's
can't read.
not in binary.
Yeah. Now you can only read binary.
Right.
Thanks, T1000.
I'm about to pack this again. This is going to be awesome.
This will be great.
Well,
Yeah. You want some of this over the camera lady? She's smiling. She's shaking her head.
so that about wraps it up here, guys. Again, all this is in these shows that we're doing for the podcast. We're going to have more links, more information put out there as Becky puts final
indeedy.
touches on a few things.
I make it purty.
We'll make it all pretty, but it's all about what we can do for this next feature project. Frank, thank you for joining us on the show. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
This one is going to be
love you, Frank.
should be titled Diatribe in Stereo because I'm about to lose my freaking mind, guys. But don't forget, pack up the bong, puff, puff, pass.
Puff, puff, pass.
Don't forget,
I feel stingy.
thank you for joining us. The Blunt Truth presents Seeing Stoned next time.
Bye-bye.